All right, in this video, this is about day 2, 3 of our paper mache, and we are going to talk about after you get 4 layers on, what do you do? Well, excuse me, 3 layers. Anyway, just a review before we talk about what you do. When you are working on your layers, you want to go in one direction with your first layer and then the opposite direction in your next layer, and then just again reverse that so that you kind of have an idea of where you left off. The other thing I want to point out before I move on is notice that I have attached this piece to the fin and to the body just for strength. And so you want to do that to kind of support. I can see I didn't do it here as much as I could have or should have, and it's a little bit flimsy, but it'll work because I'm going to do it with my next part. And so the next part is we are going to do a 4th layer, and the 4th layer is going to be done with white paper. And this is basically bulletin board paper that I cut up. And I will have an assortment of white papers, you know, about this big, maybe a little skinnier, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter. But anyway, let's move on. I had the white paper here so you could see because it gets kind of busy with the newspaper. But biggest thing you got to remember is keep your area covered to make it easy cleanup. On the cart, there is dry materials on the top part, and then the wet materials that have the paper mache, or as some of you we were teasingly saying, the pig's knot, is on the 2nd and the 3rd shelf. So we can stack the dry, but we cannot stack these bowls. So that's why we have to keep them separate. So anyway, there's just a little amount in here, and you have 2 options when you do this. We can dip it in and strain it off. And in the process of straining it off, I'm making sure everything's covered, and then we can lay it down. Now, the first couple pieces I put around this way, and I did that with my first period class, and then I realized, you know, I got this really long creature that probably makes sense that as I'm doing the shark, I do it the long way, because I only need 1 layer, and I want it to be as neat as possible. So I'm going to do most of my pieces going this way to make sure the seams are good. I might do one here, but that really saved a lot of time by doing it that way with that long piece. The other thing I want to point out is just because you have a piece like this does not mean you have to use it as is. Or better yet, if I have a really long piece like this, the easiest way to take care of this and adjust it if I need a smaller piece is just to rip it. You know, if we had more time, I'd probably have you rip just all of yours, but I had a bunch cut for you. So again, I dip that in and I'm straining off the extra. I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the fin here. And try to. And I'm going to go ahead and flatten it out on the fin and the body. And I'm going to fold it over. You notice I got some dripping here, so I'm going to lay that, or I'm going to, excuse me, take that extra dripping stuff and I'm just going to smooth it on the rest of the fin. And I will use that to finish it. Well, maybe I should just use the one that's sticking to me the most. So I'm going to lay that down. And I'm going to take a little in my finger and basically just paint it on with my finger. You could use a brush, but I'm going to ask you not to for this, just to use your fingers because your fingers are going to get kind of messy anyway. So I'll just fold it around. And by paper macheing it on this side and this side, that's really going to make it a lot sturdier. And so that's the process of the white. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and then we'll return when I have a majority of this covered. Last thing is a reminder that you want to do one side at a time. I had already done the bottom here, so that enables me to probably finish most of it. But if I had done this and this, it would stick to the paper. So keep that in mind as you are going along.